All right, I am back doing my weekly soccer rant. Now, this one isn't so much of a rant. I mean, it is, but it's more of a congratulations, an acknowledgement, and a story about Nick Lissandra. For those of you that do or don't know, right now Nick is in Cyprus, and he was given the opportunity to train with a club called Apoel, and they are arguably the most famous club in Cyprus. They've actually played in the Champions League, and I mean, great organization, right, in terms of the model of soccer. Okay, now, basically how he got there was his family's from there, and there was a coach that they met that was the former coach of the Cyprus U14 national team. Saw Nick play while he was over there on vacation prior, and they set up an arrangement for him to be able to go train with Apoel because the coach highly recommended Nick. So he gets a shot to go over there and train with their pro academy. Okay, this is something that players dream about, getting a shot to do that, especially as an American kid, let alone being a kid from Europe, right? I mean, that's a dream that every kid that wants to play pro has that, and he's getting that chance now. It was Nick, and I'm gonna be like, yeah. He worked that hard to get to that point, right? To get to the point where he's at now. The second thing is he has played at essentially every single level of youth soccer in this country. From, for example, when he started was Nick, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, he worked that hard to get to that point, right? To get to the point where he's at now. The second thing is he has played at essentially every single level of youth soccer in this country. From, for example, when he started was younger recreational, he's played up to the DA, and he's played everything in between that. So he's a kid with experience about it. So now he's getting a shot to go over to Europe to play at Apoel. Now here comes how they structure their club and how it works. So check this out, right? You want to talk about a complete soccer experience, and this came directly from his family, okay? They train in the morning, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. They go to breakfast as a team. They go to school after that for 6 classes, 8 to 9 training session. Breakfast as a group after that. Then they go to school. School, they're taking classes, right? They go to lunch. Then from there, they complete all their schoolwork for the day, finish classes. They're going out to train again. And they're doing this essentially every single day. Imagine that environment that you'd be in. When she told me that, I'm going, man, I would love to be a coach in that environment. Imagine they're going out to train again, and they're doing this essentially every single day. Imagine that environment that you'd be in. When she told me that, I'm going, man, I would love to be a coach in that environment. Imagine that as a player. If you have a serious goal of wanting to get there, of being a pro, imagine that type of environment and how it could benefit you. They also told me that the sessions are really focused on the individual skill set of the player, because they understand that they need to develop the individual player first to be successful to play in a team. So it's not that they don't do team-based stuff, so don't misinterpret what I'm saying. They still do scrimmages, they still do games, but they do a lot of stuff focused on building the player, developing the player. And then, can they apply it? That's the methodology. Is okay, we're putting it into a team, applying it. Okay, now they get it, right? A top European club like that gets it. Putting it into a team, applying it. Okay, now they get it, right? A top European club like that gets it. Okay, so Nick's been there for almost a week, and I'm going to recap the first 2 sessions plus his first game. Okay, now, session 1, I want to make sure I don't miss anything in my notes. I'm going to look at my notes real quick that I wrote down. So, the first couple of things. Right? Okay, so Nick's been there for almost a week, and I'm going to recap the first 2 sessions plus his first game. Okay, now, session 1, I want to make sure I don't miss anything in my notes. I'm going to look at my notes real quick that I wrote down. So, the first couple of things, right? It is the highest level he's played at in terms of the ability and structure of the training, of players and things like that. The speed is so much faster than what he's used to because it's a lot quicker. The third thing was the ball was always on the floor. There was barely any passes in the air. There was barely anything outside of the ball being on the floor with quick interchanges of passes. And the two kind of final parts was that every single kid pretty much wants it. They all strive to be, for example, a professional player, but they all want to be there. They all want to get better. And that's what I talked yesterday of. If you're going to reach the highest level, you need to be challenged. These kids are all pushing each other. The final thing was there were obviously somewhat of discrepancy in levels, but there's nobody there that's like, wow, you shouldn't be here, if you catch my drift. Right? Maybe on your club team you're looking at it and go, why is this person here? Whatever. They don't have that. So think about those key points. Highest quality he's played at, and he's played at the DA level here. What does that tell you? And they were like, it's not even close to the levels that they've played at in the United States. So speed is much faster. The ball is always on the floor. Every kid wants it, and there's no kid that shouldn't be there. Think about it. They can see that Nick needs tactical development, but it's because he's been playing at a lower level. So because he hasn't played with, for example, all the same level type of players, the desire of players, you can't achieve all the things that a coach maybe wants to do in a session. So, and obviously the mindset is different, where here it's about winning. There they know that they have to develop players. So tactically he wasn't as adept as the other players. Now, they also said that it would take about a week for him to kind of catch up with this. So, and obviously the mindset is different, where here it's about winning. There they know that they have to develop players. So tactically he wasn't as adept as the other players. Now, they also said that it would take about a week for him to kind of catch up with his speed and everything, to really be in tune with it. So there's a little bit of that, but they believe that he had very good qualities as a player. So individually he has good skill set. The thing that he's missing is tactical, really, and the speed of the game. So he's got to catch up on. But they thought it would take about a week for him to catch up on that and then start learning the tactical applications that they want. Okay. Now I'm going to recap day 2 in a moment, so be ready. All right. So for day 2, so session 2, right? Nick played much stronger, much better performance. Again, you start recovering a little bit from the jet lag, and I'll tell you what, jet lag is not easy to beat and not easy to deal with. So much better session for him. They did a scrimmage. He scored 2 goals. The other players, I don't know how to say this word, but they called him a pectoras, which apparently means that he's a very good top player for his age group. So the other things that they noticed was that the kids were willing to work and play together collectively. But remember, I told you earlier that they did a lot of bonding stuff. They went to breakfast together. They went to school together. So they're developing a team collaboration. The kids are going to get along better versus, say, the standard American setup. Okay? So, again, he played much better. I'm going to give you the thoughts now of the staff, the Apoel staff. After day 2, they were thoroughly impressed. Very impressed with his performance and his level. And actually, the academy director said this: whoever or whatever has gotten Nick to this level has done a great job. They also dealing with adversity, the mental aspects. And right now, I think Nick's very strong with that. The mental, making a mistake, does he recover from it? And I think he can. I think he does a great job with it. So it's after dealing with adversity, the mental aspects. And right now, I think Nick's very strong with that. The mental, making a mistake, does he recover from it? And I think he can. I think he does a great job with it. So it's after day 2, they were that impressed, and he ended up getting a chance to go play in a game, an actual game, in the following days. So I'm going to touch upon that here in a moment. So the game that he played in. So he's an 07 player. The Apoel team has been that successful that they've gone and played up. So in this game, they went and played up against 06s. They ended up losing 4-0, but to kind of recap it for you, again, they said the level was that high, that it was much higher than anything he's played in. He ended up playing, I want to make sure I get these details right, he played roughly 50 to 60 minutes and played as a number 8 and a number 10, center midfield and attacking midfielder. So they got a challenge of going to play up, and they lost. But nobody's panicking that they lost. Okay, they took it as a challenge to go push these kids to see how, one, they're going to respond, And then two, can they hang? And, getting a chance to play 50, 60 minutes in your first game, it's great. That's awesome for him. So, he's done a phenomenal job. And I'm going to touch on a couple other things in terms of his family's thoughts, at least what they shared with me in terms of the differences between, say, Cyprus, Apple in particular, versus the United States. Stay tuned. So, to give you an idea of what they thought, is the first thing is completely dead honest. No comparison between, say, Apoel and any American club that they've worked with. There's no comparison of it in terms of like being competition in a sense, or like a direct relationship. There's nothing that has that same type of environment here. And that's not trying to be a knock on anybody. That's just the reality of the situation, is that there's nothing here in this country that has the same type of environment, the feel, the, let's just say, opportunity. Doesn't exist here. There's no club that has players go out at 8 a.m., train, go to breakfast together, then go to school together. That doesn't exist. There's no club that does that and then brings their players in to go play later. Nobody does that. So, like, it's been like everything that they've, wanted, that, he's wanted to have in his life as a soccer player, is that environment. I mean, imagine that if you had that type of environment of going out, if your goal was like mine or like Nick's or anybody else that has a goal of, I want to be a pro, imagine what you could do, you could possibly achieve in an environment like that. I mean, come on. It's not even close, right? They have an actual academy format. Their goal, plain and simple, is to develop their next generation of Apoel professional players. That's it. That's their goal of the academy. It's not to go and make money. Don't get me wrong, Champions League. Think of like the environment that brings. I mean, imagine if I was a coach at a Champions League club and I was like, look, just imagine walking in there, even if you've never won it or made it out of the group stage or whatever. Champions League. Think of like the environment that brings. I mean, imagine if I was a coach at a Champions League club and I was like, look, just imagine walking in there, even if you've never won it or made it out of the group stage or whatever. Just the fact that your club's been in the Champions League, that's a privilege. There's only so many teams that can do that. Period. So you're in this environment. It's like, man, I'm here with these people. It's surreal. So on a personal level for me, I am so thrilled, proud, excited for the opportunities that obviously Nick is getting now and anything in the future. Because like I said before, we've worked for. So on a personal level for me, I am so thrilled, proud, excited for the opportunities that obviously Nick is getting now and anything in the future. Because like I said before, we've worked for 2 years, over 2 years, and he's one of the hardest working kids I've ever met. And it's because of his dedication and desire he's even getting a chance like this. So, somebody that's played such a significant role in his, development, I am super proud of the kid. I'm so happy for him. He deserves it. And I'm excited to see, what comes of this, if anything, or how he changes and improves moving forward. He's gotten a chance to do this. I mean, it's incredible. Honestly, so many players want a chance like this, and he's gotten one. So, congratulations, Nick. Great job. He's gotten a chance to do this. It's incredible. Honestly, so many players want a chance like this, and he's gotten one. So, congratulations, Nick. Great job. Keep working. Do not stop. And so then, looking at it this way, right? This is really awesome for me and my story as well, because it's like I've gotten a kid now that's gotten a chance to go play for a top club in Europe that's played the Champions League. You can't get much bigger than that. And it's like that proves that the development process of stuff that I do actually works. when you have a player that buys into it like Nick did. That's huge, because how many coaches are structured around development first? For me, that's the first thing, because guess what? If I don't do my job of wanting or needing to make a player better, you're going to go elsewhere. It's that simple. So I have to do what is right for you, if it's you. And so in this instance, it was for Nick. I knew what I had to do and what was right for Nick to reach the level that he's at now after 2 years and almost 2 months. And it's like, that's why I try and fill in every session that I have. And it's amazing to see the progress that he's made. And I'm very shortly, I'm going to share with you some of the videos of some of the work that we had from 2 years ago, a year and 9 months ago. And you're going to be like, that was Nick?